This is an Eyewitness News special report.
Good morning, I'm Nancy Rubin. Just moments ago at the Florida State Prison, serial killer Ted Bundy was executed for the death of 12-year-old Kimberly Leach of Lake City. Our Mike Maychak is at the prison now and joins us with a live report. Mike?
Nancy, we just received the signal from just outside the chamber where the Florida electric chair has electrocuted and put to death accused serial killer Ted Bundy, 42-year-old law school dropout after spending 10 years on Florida's death row. Bundy confessing in the past week or so to as many as 20 murders of young women in the western states, at one time considered a suspect in as many as 36 deaths or disappearances. Relatives of victims have said they felt relief after Bundy's confessions. Now after his execution, one can speculate that relief is even greater. Apparently, any attempt by Bundy or his attorneys to plead incompetence as a last-ditch effort to stay the execution never materialized. Once again, we have been notified that accused serial killer Ted Bundy has been executed in the Florida electric chair. Nancy?
Mike, what was the reaction? You said there's a crowd of people, curiosity seekers and others standing there across the street from the prison. What was the reaction when the signal came?
Nancy, there was a cheer, there were whistles, someone brought along fireworks. The crowd is starting to break up a little bit, but there's still plenty of people here just standing as witness to this execution. 10 years in waiting, 10 years Ted Bundy's stay on death row here at the Florida State Prison.
Hey, Mike Maychak, thank you very much. Reporting live from Starke, where Ted Bundy has been executed. We rejoin regular programming right now.
This has been an Eyewitness News special report. We now return you to the program.
Good evening. At 16 minutes past 7 o'clock this morning, Ted Bundy's time ran out. Bundy was executed 11 years after being sentenced to death for murdering a child in Lake City.
While the death penalty was being carried out inside the prison, outside, hundreds of people celebrated. This was a day many Americans felt was much too long coming. We begin our coverage in Starke with Eyewitness News reporter Mike Maychak.
Mike. They cheered, they chanted. They celebrated with high spirits an end to one of the most notorious serial killers of our time, Ted Bundy.
He's just done too much. He's just killed too many people. And his death is going to be easy compared to theirs.
For 10 years on Florida's death row, Bundy managed to evade the electric chair. But this time, the courts and the governor declared this killer's time had run out. Some of those who witnessed his execution described Bundy as shaken, but calm as he was led to and strapped in the electric chair. Bundy's last words were to give love to his family and friends.
He bludgeoned the poor girls.
While many declare his death a victory for justice, a small group that assembled outside the prison said executing Bundy or anyone is wrong.
Because whoever's being executed in their crime is not really the issue. You know, the issue is we're murdering somebody, and we're not respecting human life.
For State Trooper Ken Robinson, who watched the execution, the day had special meaning. 10 years ago, Robinson discovered the raped and murdered body of 12-year-old Kimberly Leach of Lake City, one of Bundy's victims. It was Leach's murder that brought Bundy to the electric chair today.
It's been very frustrating through the years of appeals, but gives me great satisfaction to have been an eyewitness to it and know that it's over and it's history now.
Ted Bundy's appeals to delay his execution cost Florida taxpayers millions of dollars over an 11-year period. While some say it proves the system works, others say it makes a mockery of the criminal justice system, and improvements must be made.
And I think the people are just a little bit despondent that it hasn't been carried out any sooner than it has. And I think we need to work to do something to make this come about in a more speedier fashion, rather.
Ted Bundy was one of Florida's longtime death row inmates, and his notoriety will likely live on for many years. For the families of his victims, though, that fame will live on like a scar that may never heal. Mike Maychak, Channel 4, Eyewitness News.
They're all going to go out tonight and celebrate. It's morbid, but it's true.
This is Tad Klipliff in Lake City. News that Ted Bundy finally paid for his crimes with his life took this town by storm today. Some celebrated with glee.
Every time he got in another appeal, he had such a smirk on his face that I could have volunteered to throw the switch if they would have let me.
Most took the news solemnly. At this breakfast restaurant, there was no cheering, no applause as the first reports hit the air.
It's a just ending to a modern-day horror story.
On Main Street, inside downtown coffee shops, Ted Bundy's death was the talk. In Lake City, there is plenty of vocal frustration with Bundy's lengthy road to the electric chair. It was here, after all, in the local county courthouse, where Bundy faced his first murder indictment.
There should be no price tag on justice, but justice delayed for the length of time in these type cases is unreasonable for the defendant, for the defense, and for the state. There must be a finite time to raise certain critical issues, or those issues must be waived.
This morning, just miles from Kimberly Leach's grave, school children hustled into her old junior high school. Their lives changed by what happened more than a decade ago.
We do not let a child use the bathroom or run an errand to the office or go between buildings without another child being with them.
With the Bundy case now over, Lake City investigator Don Kennedy released to Eyewitness News these never-before-seen pictures of Bundy. It was 1980, and Bundy was minutes away from being sentenced for Kimberly Leach's death. At one point, he showed off his teeth that were used as evidence in the gory murders of Tallahassee. This was a sick man, one Lake City resident said, but he won't be around to haunt us anymore. Ted Bundy, Channel 4, Eyewitness News.
Yesterday, Ted Bundy sat down for a lengthy television interview with a nationally known psychologist, author, and broadcaster, Dr. James Dobson. During their talk, Bundy repeatedly blamed his behavior on pornography.
I'm no social scientist, and I haven't done a survey. I mean, I don't pretend that I know what John Q. Citizen thinks about this. But I've lived in prison for a long time now. And I've met a lot of men who were motivated to commit violence just like me. And without exception, every one of them was deeply involved in pornography, without question, without exception. Deeply influenced and consumed by an addiction to pornography. There's no question about it. The FBI's own study on serial homicide shows that the most common interest among serial killers is pornography.
We'll bring you the rest of Dr. Dobson's interview with Bundy tonight at 7 o'clock during an Eyewitness News special report. It is
confided in us. Of course, if you had, what would we have done then? You don't usually go around telling your mom that you've been doing these kinds of things. That I understand, but for 13 years, he's sworn up and down, backwards and forwards, that he was innocent.
Eyewitness News special program. Inside Edition and Entertainment Tonight will not be seen tonight, but will return tomorrow at their regular times.